I want to take a moment, too, to recognize our wonderful instrumentalists that are joining us this morning. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. I have some mixed feelings about Christmas Day. Not theological issues with the Christmas story or the birth of Jesus, but to be honest, in general, Christmas Day has been fairly anticlimactic for me. I'm a Christmas Eve fan. Maybe it's because I'm a look-ahead person, a planner, sometimes a dreamer. But I love the anticipation, the expectation, the tingly feeling that Christmas is coming. And on Christmas Day, well, it's here. There's really not anything to wait for anymore. Nothing to prepare. Sometimes it feels like there's nothing to look forward to. The gifts are unwrapped. The family and guests have arrived and maybe left again. The concerts are over. The school parties and the work parties and the baking and the decorating are done. And what is left is the cleaning up and the undecorating and maybe a stomachache. And I find those to be less enjoyable. We've built up to this day for weeks, maybe months. And then when it's here, it's sort of like, now what? For some, it may feel like a bit of relief that the hoopla is nearing the end. For others, particularly when the holiday falls on a weekend like this, tomorrow may be time to dig back into the routine for a Monday morning. The culmination of this day might be leading into a week of catching up on what didn't get done last week. Maybe some additional family gatherings, perhaps some travel, eating leftovers and more leftovers, trying to keep out-of-school children entertained or busy, or at least making an attempt to monitor screen time, including one's own. Wondering how long is really acceptable to play Christmas music after December 25th. All in all, by midday on Christmas, it sometimes feels like Christmas is over, done, ended. Perhaps this is why I particularly appreciate the imagery found in the first chapter of John. All of the gospel scripture texts that we've been reading that tell the story of the nativity, of Jesus' birth, are from Matthew and Luke. Those stories are found at the beginning of those gospels. That is essentially where they start the story of Jesus' life and teaching, Jesus' death and resurrection, with a narrative of Jesus' birth. Here in the Gospel of John, we are once again at the beginning, although it is a very different sort of beginning. No Mary and Elizabeth, no Joseph, no angels, no shepherds, no wise men, no clearly human characters at all, quite frankly, except for John the Baptist. We have the Word and God. We have light and darkness. And I love how the language interplays with Genesis 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was without shape and empty, and the darkness was over the surface of the watery deep, but the Spirit of God was moving over the surface of the water. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw that the light was good, so God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness night. And there was evening, and there was morning, marking the first day. Light of the world, into our darkness come. Reading these texts again, I am reminded that this Christmas season, this Christmas day, isn't the end of the story. It's actually the beginning. We are hearing about and experiencing the world starting from scratch. John tells us that the Word, the Logos, the presence of the power of love and healing, the light that cannot be overcome by darkness, is present from the beginning, from before the beginning, from the moment of the first inkling that there would even be a creation of a world, a seed of hope. Even in the darkest of darkness, before the light was created, the Word was there. The Spirit of God was there, creating light, bringing a fresh, new light into a world. And not only has Christ's presence been there, and it is here now, but it will continue to be here. And that's where we come in. Let heaven's will on earth be done. You are the light of the world. Let your light shine. Last night was an unusual Christmas Eve for me. As a Christmas Eve person, it felt perhaps like the least Christmas Eve-y Eve I have ever experienced. There are several reasons for that, but a big one is this was the first time I have been a pastor on Christmas Eve. I've been the child of a pastor, but this was the first time I've been in this role, and it provides, quite literally, from standing up here, a very different perspective. And as I stood here last night and watched the candlelight travel from person to person across the rows and from the front of the room to the back and into the balcony, slowly each face, one at a time, became illuminated, glowing. You, your children, your parents, your grandchildren, your friends. And I can tell you with absolute confidence, you are the light of the world. You are the bringers of heaven's will on earth. You are the light bearers. Jesus is within you, here in this space and as you leave this space. The light is reflected in your eyes. It glows from your faces. It is the warmth of your hands and the spunk of your step. It is in your voices, your hearts, and your minds. Christ is present in each of you and with all of us. One of my favorite Christmas tree decorations as a child was a string of bubble lights. Each individual light was shaped sort of like a candle holder, like we held last night. And a thin, tall glass or plastic candle at the center was filled with liquid. Each light has to be individually clipped onto a branch, I assume probably mimicking German and maybe Austrian actual lit candles that used to be on trees and in some cases still are. They're a bit labor intensive, but when you plug them in, after a couple of minutes, they glow and bubble up in the center. Be the bubbling light. Go out from this place and be the bubbling light. This is the hope for the future. But not only the future. I will close by sharing these beautiful words with you from poet and writer Laura Martin. I will not tell you to have hope in the future. I say, have hope right now. Right now, someone is sweeping the street, singing. Someone is folding laundry, sewing a button on, holding out a hand for another to step down more easily. Right now, someone is buying flowers to give them all away, playing piano in the darkening day, baking bread. Someone is caring for a dog, smoothing a child's forehead, setting down food for a cat. Right now, someone is working for an end to war, for a beginning to a song, for the trees in a forest, for the lights to stay on, for the sun to power a school, for someone cold to be warmed, for someone sick to be healed, for this brilliant earth. It is enough to have hope for right now. May it be so.